Only one ship? You've gotta be kidding me. Admiral Krell slammed his four-fingered hand onto the command console, causing several junior officers to flinch. His scaled skin flushed a brilliant orange, the Narvallian equivalent of laughter. The massive dreadnought, inevitable conquest, hung in space like a predator eyeing particularly unimpressive prey. Before them, a single human vessel, barely an eighth their size, drifted at the edge of Narvallian territory. Magnify the image, Krell ordered, leaning forward with his fanged grin spreading wide across his reptilian face. So this is the famous human species we've heard rumors about? The one supposedly expanding rapidly through the Orion Arm? Lieutenant Vexa adjusted her posture nervously. Yes, Admiral. Our intelligence reports indicate they've colonized 17 systems in just under a century. With that? Krell gestured dismissively toward the screen. It looks like something my spawn would build with discarded shell molts. The bridge erupted in thunderous laughter. The Narvallians had conquered 300 systems over 15 millennia. Their exoskeletons had evolved for war, their society built around domination. What could soft, fleshy mammals possibly offer as resistance? Shall we eliminate them, Admiral? Asked Commander Zorn, weapon systems already primed. Krell paused, tapping his claws thoughtfully against his chin ridge. No, not yet. Science Division has been requesting new specimens. Prepare the tractor beams, we'll take this vessel intact. Besides, he added with a snort, if this is humanity's idea of a warship, we should study their pathetic technology before we crush their homeworld. The bridge crew worked efficiently, ensnaring the human vessel in energy fields. Alarms blared across the command deck. Admiral. They're transmitting a message. Put it through, Krell said, lounging back in his command throne. Let's hear what these creatures have to say before we dissect them. The view screen flickered to life, showing a pink-skinned being with fur on top of its head. Its voice was strangely melodic for such an obviously inferior species. Narvallian vessel, this is Captain Dominic Reyes of the Earth exploration ship Horizon. We come in peace and request safe passage through your territory. How wonderful, Krell replied with mock politeness. We also come in peace. Pieces of you, that is. He roared with laughter at his own joke. The human's face changed then, moisture gathered in its visual organs and streamed down its facial features. The creature's voice cracked slightly. Please. We have civilians aboard. Scientists, families. We mean no harm. The bridge fell silent. The Narvallian stared in confusion at the strange liquid pouring from the human's eyes. What's it doing? Whispered Vexa. Is that some kind of defensive secretion? Krell leaned forward, genuinely puzzled. Record everything. I've never seen a species react like this before. The human was leaking? Malfunctioning? Whatever it was, it struck Krell as deeply unsettling. Bring them aboard, he ordered quietly. I want to understand what we're seeing here. Little did Admiral Krell know, he had just witnessed something that would change the fate of his entire species, a human crying. Fascinating specimens, Chief Scientist Prax muttered, tapping notes into her data pad. Their internal fluid regulation systems are unlike anything we've catalogued. Admiral Krell paced around the containment chamber, studying the captured humans with growing curiosity. Most cowered in corners, expected behavior for inferior beings. But one stood defiantly in the center, arms crossed, eyes locked on Krell with unmistakable calculation. That one, Krell pointed. What's different about it? She calls herself Captain Eleanor Frost, Prax replied. She hasn't shown the leaking behavior the others display. Her vital signs indicate stress, but she controls it remarkably well. Krell approached the transparent barrier. You. Why don't you leak like the others? Frost's lips curled upward. You mean cry? Trust me, I'm saving my tears for something worth the water. The translator struggled with the idiom, but Krell understood the sentiment. Defiance. From prey. Show me what you've learned, Krell demanded, turning to Prax. The scientist activated a holodisplay. Their historical archives are disturbing, Admiral. These humans have fought wars that decimated their own planet. Look at these weapons systems, nuclear arsenals that could render continents uninhabitable. Biological agents engineered to target specific genetic markers. Preposterous. No species would risk such self-destruction, Commander Zorn scoffed. The evidence is conclusive, Prax insisted. More alarming is how quickly they advance during conflict. Their technological development curve spikes dramatically during wartimes. Krell studied footage of human battles, primitive compared to Narvallian warfare, yet somehow more savage. And the leaking? Krell asked. Tears, Prax corrected. It's part of their emotional processing system. They produce this response to everything from sadness to joy to rage. It appears to help them regulate. Regulate what? Their inner turmoil. Without it, they become, well, data suggests unpredictable and potentially more dangerous. Captain Frost called out from her cell, we cry because we feel deeply, lizard face. It's not weakness, it's what keeps us human. Before Krell could respond, Lieutenant Vexa burst into the laboratory. Admiral. Urgent communication from the Border Patrol. Another human vessel has entered our space, larger than the first. They're requesting the return of their people. They claim to be a diplomatic envoy. Krell's scales shifted to a contemplative blue. So they sent a rescue party? How quaint. There's more, Vexa added nervously. They addressed you by name, sir. Somehow they know exactly who captured their ship, and exactly where we've taken their crew. From her cell, Captain Frost's smile widened. I'd answer that call if I were you, Admiral. When humans come knocking, it's best not to keep them waiting. For the first time since the humans arrived, a flicker of unease passed through Krell's compound eyes. Patch them through, Admiral Krell ordered, settling into his command throne with practiced arrogance. Let's hear what these mammals have to squeak about. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a stern-faced human with silver-streaked dark hair and piercing blue eyes. Admiral Krell, I am Diplomat Marcus Webb representing the United Earth Alliance. We formally request the immediate release of the exploration vessel, Horizon, and all personnel. Krell barked with laughter. Request denied. Your species has entered Narvallian space. The punishment is study, followed by dissection? How original, Webb interrupted. Admiral, I strongly advise you to reconsider. This situation can be resolved peacefully. With what leverage? Krell sneered. Your pitiful diplomatic vessel against our dreadnought? Perhaps you'll cry at us until we surrender? Webb's expression remained unervingly calm. This is your final opportunity, Admiral. Release our people, or face consequences your species is not prepared for. Threats? From you? Krell roared, slamming his fist down. End transmission. Prepare to capture their second vessel, same protocols. Meanwhile in the laboratory, Guard Officer Trask grew frustrated with a human refusing to enter a scanning chamber. Move, disgusting creature. Trask jabbed the human with an electric prod. The resulting transformation shocked everyone present. The previously docile human launched into a berserker fury, his face contorting, veins bulging, strength multiplying. It took 6 guards to subdue him. Remarkable, Prax whispered, reviewing the biological readings. Their adrenal response creates a temporary combat enhancement. It's as though their emotional system is directly tied to survival functions. Captain Frost watched from her cell. You think that's impressive? You should see what happens when we get really mad. Prax approached Krell later with urgency. Admiral, these humans. Their emotional spectrum isn't primitive as we thought. It's sophisticated, an evolutionary advantage. Their feelings trigger biological responses that enhance performance. What of it? Krell dismissed her. They're still inferior. Commander Zorn burst onto the bridge, scales pale with alarm. Admiral. Long-range sensors detecting multiple warp signatures. Hundreds of them. Impossible. Krell rushed to the viewing port as space itself seemed to tear open. Ship after ship appeared, cruisers, destroyers, battleships, each bearing the insignia of the United Earth Alliance. At their center, a vessel dwarfing even the inevitable conquest emerged from warp. They said it was a diplomatic mission, Vexa stammered. On the main view screen, Marcus Webb's face appeared again, this time wearing a commander's uniform. Admiral Krell, Webb said calmly. Perhaps we should continue our diplomatic discussion. As you can see, humanity brought a few more representatives to the negotiating table. All ships, battle formation. Admiral Krell bellowed as panic erupted across the Narvallian fleet. These mammals think numbers will save them? Fire. The first volley of Narvallian weaponry streaked across space, only to pass harmlessly through projected holographic ships. The real human fleet appeared from completely different vectors, their attack patterns seemingly random yet devastatingly coordinated. They're everywhere at once. Commander Zorn shouted over blaring alarms. They're using our own attack protocols against us, but modified, improved. 3 Narvallian cruisers exploded in quick succession. On nearby screens, human soldiers boarded Narvallian vessels with terrifying efficiency. They fought with a controlled rage that stunned the reptilian warriors, not the blind fury of primitives, but calculated violence executed with surgical precision. Admiral, Prax's voice crackled through the comm system. The human prisoners. They're smiling. Krell spun toward the laboratory feed. Captain Frost stood watching the battle unfold on a security monitor, a single tear rolling down her cheek, accompanied by what the translator identified as a grin. They weren't crying from fear, Prax realized aloud. They were crying from restraint. Trying to avoid this. The flagship rocked violently as direct hits breached the outer hull. Through the chaos, a private transmission reached Krell's personal channel. Admiral, Marcus Webb's face appeared. Your ship is surrounded. Your fleet is decimated. Surrender now, and we'll spare your remaining forces. Why would you offer mercy? Krell hissed through pain as part of the ceiling collapsed nearby. You're winning. Because unnecessary bloodshed is exactly what we were trying to avoid, Webb answered simply. Those tears you mocked? They were for your people as much as ours. Outside the viewports, human ships systematically disabled, not destroyed, the remaining Narvallian vessels. They could have annihilated the entire fleet, Krell realized with shocking clarity. This show of force wasn't about destruction, it was a message. Krell limped to the command console and opened all channels. This is Admiral Krell of the Narvallian Empire. All ships. Stand down. I repeat, stand down. 1 standard year later, Admiral Krell stood before the Narvallian High Council, his once brilliant scales now permanently dulled from his injuries. The treaty with the humans is signed, he announced. They've agreed to trade and cultural exchange rather than demanding reparations. And what did we learn from this humiliation? Demanded High Counselor Drex. Krell looked up, his compound eyes reflecting the light differently now, wiser, perhaps. We learned that in all our millennia of conquest, we never faced a species like humanity. When they cry, it isn't weakness seeping out, it's strength being held back. When they show emotion, it isn't inferiority, it's a power we never evolved. He paused, remembering Captain Frost's parting words to him. We learned the galaxy's most important lesson, Counselor. Never mistake human emotion for weakness. Because when humans finally stop crying and start fighting, that's when you know the end has begun.